About time again for the winter gloves to come out. Actually, almost put them on the other day to ride. So I've always been kind of an advocate for 300cc riding. The guy's puffing some big clouds on the cigar while he's on the green. I've always been a big advocate for 300cc riding, especially like starting on a 300cc, and that's mainly because I have, still do. But I kind of want to. I've been trying to, enlighten my perspective on it. I haven't solely, watched videos, read articles, stuff pertaining to why you should start on a 300cc. I haven't solely watched that. I've watched videos, detailing pros, cons of each. The latter being starting on a bigger bike like a 600cc. 600cc sport bike, that is. That's what I'm talking about in this situation. And I want to kind of address the counterpoint to what I personally most of the time agree with. So I do mostly think that starting on a 300cc is good, but I don't have the most experience motorcycle riding, so I'm not gonna say that mine is right and the other is wrong. But I want to talk about why I'm starting to kind of think that maybe it's more like okay to start on a 600cc, and that's due to a couple of reasons. One, I talked to this guy that's in this group that I've been riding with for a bit now, and he made a couple good points that why he thinks you should start on a 600cc if you are going to eventually get one. And so I kind of wanted to bring those to a video and talk about why I think they're valid reasonings, stuff like that. So kind of a main one is that he talked about how when you have a 600cc and you start on it, it gets you used to that power that you actually have. Okay, because 600cc's have so much more power than 300cc's. They're often considered dangerous, which in my opinion they are. They're more dangerous because to an inexperienced rider that has not very good throttle control, they haven't been practicing lean angles at high speeds, they haven't been able to control wheelies that are going to happen, power wheelies and stuff like everything related to the power. A new rider will not have that level of control that a more experienced rider will. And so that's why those bigger bikes they have less of a margin for error, because if you make a small mistake, they cause big problems on big bikes because the engines are more powerful, everything like that. I don't need to explain all that. It's a simple fact within the bike community. But what he was explaining is that you don't get used to that power when you start on a 300cc, and you can't ease yourself into it. And when you start on a 300cc or a smaller, small bore, it kind of makes you think that you can just pin the throttle or take the throttle to the max, whenever. And if you think about that conceptually, it kind of makes sense. If you're on a 300 and you're used to giving half to 3/4 throttle, when you're just riding in the city, that could be detrimental for when you do switch over to a 600, because then you're going to have this thought in your mind, or this muscle memory, that you can give the bike a lot of gas, whereas in reality with a 600, especially in town, you're probably going to be giving it, I don't know, a good metric, I would reckon 30% of your power when you're in town, and then maybe up to 60-70% on the if you're really going crazy out on the highway. A lot of people that have 600cc's don't even say they ever reach full power until you hit a track, right? Another thing is that 600cc's have a lot of good power that is, and I say good power, and what I mean by that is power that's going to give you the ability to really accelerate when you need to. And that's something you don't have on 300s. And so that's another thing that's kind of like a pro to starting on a 600. You're going to have a lot of power at your disposal. And so it makes like highway riding a lot safer, and it makes you get comfortable in knowing how quickly you can accelerate, you know, how quickly you can actually accelerate to get out of a situation. It gets you more comfortable with, you know, understanding your, you know, what your capabilities are on the motorcycle, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And this also ties in, you know, I'm just tying these in with a few other things, like, you know, you don't have to pay for an upgrade. If you do eventually plan on upgrading, you don't have to worry about selling your bike, things like that. So that's kind of just like what I've been thinking about recently, and, you know, what I think in regards to starting on a 600cc. Again, I was talking to a guy that I know, and he kind of has put this opinion on me a little bit, but nonetheless,